Welcome to Auto Off Topic. Hey, Brad, how are you? You feeling any better?
I am a lot more lucid this week than I was last week, so that's good. So I'm not going to say I'm feeling better. I'm actually the most sore I've been since the day of the accident, which is probably not good. But I am no longer on any medication, so I should have a nice rate with it podcast today.
Yeah. I only had to do some minor editing the last one, but it worked out fine.
Yeah, as we discovered just before recording this, now I have some blank memories from last week. I was like, oh, we never talked about NASCAR. It's like, no, we talked about NASCAR at the Coliseum. I was like, oh, I don't remember that. So yeah, it was not a pleasant time. I think that was like the day or 2 days after the accident, right?
I think so.
So yeah, so we're a week and a half later. We're in a little better place.
That happened to me after I had my Achilles tendon fixed. It was around Christmas time, and some people came over to see me. And then, like, weeks later, they're like, yeah, we came over to see you. And I was like, what?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
that's kind of what happened. I think it was a combination of I was still in some kind of like, again, there was, I haven't discussed too much about the accident yet because I can't until, the whole thing's sussed out. But there was a moment of blackout time after the accident or during the accident that I don't remember after either right before or after the impact into the wall. So they may have been some concussion symptoms on top of the muscle relaxers. I'm not sure. I'm
You
not sure
definitely have a
which.
concussion. It sounds like you have a concussion or had a concussion and are still
Yeah,
recovering from it.
yeah. There's no question. So it was a combination of that plus the muscle relaxers. That last week is it's not. I don't want to relive it anyway, so I'm glad I can't. How's that sound?
Yeah.
So yeah, once there's no news on that front either. I haven't hasn't been any determination of anything from any insurance company. They're still waiting for the police report, which is supposedly 15 days, which I think is a long time. But what do I know?
Hmm.
So, yeah, we'll get into that. Hopefully soon it will be all straightened out and we can have a full conversation about it. I just don't want there to be any. I don't know. It's I guess it's kind of like a pending legal case, right? You can't really discuss too much about it, and you don't want to.
Yeah. It's fine.
So yeah, we'll just leave it alone.
We could talk about what you want to replace it with. That would be fine.
Yeah, we can get into that in a little bit. That's for sure.
Um,
That's actually a hotly contested debate right now.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
with you and me or other people.
No, it's me and myself.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been I've been going back and forth a lot. Let's put it that way. We'll get into the discussion when we talk about the Volkswagen a little later. That's the main crux of it, I think.
Well,
So
we've got some car news. We actually just quickly watched a trailer tipped off by the Japanese nostalgic car blog.
yeah,
Uh,
Ben actually put a little snippet of it up so you can go to JapaneseNostalgiaCar.com and see this clip.
yeah, it's called the Live Hoon. I don't know.
Which is not a great name. I'm sure something's lost in translation there.
Yeah, so it's Japanese only movie so far, but it's synopsis. The main character is an esports driver racing Gran Turismo, which is a big thing now, and then wants to make the jump to drifting. So Keiichi Tashiya's in it, a bunch of other famous drifting guys. They go to like Ebisu. What's remarkable and looks really cool is that the movie is marketed as zero CG.
Yeah, it's all actual driving shots.
Mm. So that should be pretty cool. Hopefully it gets released to like YouTube or something or streaming
Yeah,
somewhere.
hopefully we can get it somewhere and we can get it with subtitles and not dubbed. That would be key.
Yeah, I'd rather have subtitles. I mean, I'd
Yeah.
watch without anything, but
It's interesting because it's a Japanese film. A lot of times you see these kind of, action movies come from somewhere overseas and they're not Japanese. They're usually like a Korean or a Bollywood film. So it's neat that this is actually a Japanese film. And I guess with this zero CG, according to Ben's article, he wrote they call that CG zero. That's the name of
uh
the process, the filming process of not using any CG and just using all live action shots.
oh,
So
now I'm trying to think of, you said Bollywood. There is like a Bollywood race car type movie.
There's a
where
Bollywood
all
drifting
the
movie.
where all the driving sequences are like Forza Horizon or something.
Yeah, yeah. No, actually no. There's two I'm thinking of. I can't think of the name of either of them because I wasn't prepared to discuss them. So it kind
No,
of came out of
it just
nowhere there.
popped into my head when you said it.
Yeah. So there's one that all of the driving sequences are from Forza Horizon, which is
Like it's
hysterical.
hilarious. Like it goes from like live action to Forza. You're like, what?
Yeah, yeah. Which Forza is pretty good, but it's still obviously not live.
It's
So
very jarring.
yeah. Well, listen, we've made some pretty garbage CG movies in this country in the past few years as well. I don't know if you've seen Gemini Man,
No.
but there's not been a worse CG movie. So I think the CG in Star Wars original release is more convincing and better than the CG in Gemini Man. So
Wait,
if that tells you anything.
you mean the re-release Star Wars in the early 2000s, 90s?
No, I mean like legitimately the CG from the 1970 whatever year.
Well, that wasn't CG.
Oh, okay.
It's different.
Okay, you're right. Sorry, I apologize.
There was the
special effects
well, yeah,
in
because
that
it's
movie
done differently.
are more believable than the CG in Gemini Man.
Miniature models are always better. Practical effects is what they call
100%. What I'm thinking of is like the lasers and stuff that were added after the fact, and obviously that
yeah.
way. Yeah.
But I thought you were talking about like the special editions that were re-released to theaters, like the Jabba the Hutt walks, like that version is like really
Yeah, that was also really bad, but also again better than Gemini Man. I can't describe to you how bad the CG is in Gemini Man. It's a major motion picture from like the year 2019, and it's atrocious. So it's also a bad movie, so don't waste your time. But try to check out some scenes if you can. Don't watch the whole movie.
off topic. There's you remember Rescue Rangers, the Disney show for the 90s,
Of course.
like the Disney afternoon show? Like I loved that show when I was a kid.
Of course.
So they're doing a reboot of it,
Okay.
but it's like a real meta reboot. Like it's the reboot is that show existed in the 90s as a cartoon, but the cartoons exist in real life. Like Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
So it's like self-aware.
It's self-aware. So like if you watch the trailer, like Chip is still 2D animation, and then Dale is right. Which one was?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So one of them had CGI surgery, so he's like 3D modeled. It's like really weird.
Okay.
And it's from Lonely Island, right? Is that Andy Samberg and?
Okay, so it's not serious at all.
Yeah, it's not. It's like super meta. Definitely marketed to our age group who watch the show. It's gonna be on Disney Plus.
Listen, here's the deal. So we're already off topic. We might as well stay there. So we're recording this a couple days after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So the entire Super Bowl commercial, halftime show, after commercials afterwards, everything about it was from the 90s. And one of the main things I noticed was that whole swing of 90s stuff was very popular amongst the whole thing. And they also advertised that they're rebooting The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
As a serious drama, though.
As a serious, like, super dark drama.
It looked kind of cool.
It did, but at the same time, I don't think we need that. I don't think we need a new Rescue
It's not
Rangers.
for you.
It is for me. It's directly related to people our age, people who grew up with the Fresh Prince. It's for us, I assume.
Oh, so speaking of the halftime show, we'll bring it back to cars here.
Okay.
Our past guest Jeremy Nutt had a post. Yes. He figured out those hoods on the lowriders were reinforced. They knew they were going to be dancing on them. They reinforced them.
They weren't even the hoods that belonged on the car. They were aftermarket hoods that were purchased. So the 3 cars that were used in the halftime show belonged to a car club in California, members of a car club in California, who I'm going to forget the name of right now, so I'm not even going to say it. Something like the Villains or something like that. And they found 3 cars in the colors they wanted, and they purchased aftermarket hoods. And then if you saw the pictures online, I think the ones Jeremy posted, where they were reinforced in the bottom so they wouldn't collapse. But they painted them to match the cars and swapped them on for for the halftime show, and then
Mm-hmm.
when they gave the cars back at the end, they put their owner's original hoods on. So no Impalas were damaged in the making of the halftime show. Also, I guess Dr. Dre liked one of the cars so much that he bought it from the guy.
Yeah, I did see that.
So yeah, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, no animals were damaged. Animals. I guess they're Impalas. That's that's the animal, right? No cars were damaged. I was going to say no animals were harmed in the filming of this movie, but no cars were filmed. I'm lost. Maybe I still do have a concussion. I don't know what's happening. No cars were damaged during the filming of this halftime show.
I don't even. Man, what does a beautiful lowrider like that go for? Anyways, they got to be.
It depends. So
Are they
something
6 figures now?
No, they can be. I wouldn't say those ones were. I don't know what they have for suspension in those or what the undercarriage detailing was like. But if they're a basic, full, actual 62 3 4 Impala convertible with, just a nice resto and full hydraulics, it's 60 to 70 grand.
Wow.
They're going to be a lot more if you start getting the ones that have like the fully detailed chassis and, etched. All the chrome is hand etched and there's gold leaf on things, and the paint has got 15,000 different colors and stripes and panels, and so they definitely go up from there. But you're looking in the 60s to 70s for a basic Impala style lowrider. So convertible probably a little more, but yeah, they're not cheap, that's for sure. They never really were, to be fair.
No.
I mean,
No.
even when they were in their heyday, they were usually pretty spendy builds. That's why you don't usually see like the Impalas and those being used in the like jumping competitions as much as you'll see like an old Cutlass.
Yeah,
because they could buy a Cutlass for $1,000 from the buy here, pay here lot and put hydraulics in it and make it jump 10 feet in the air. So traditional, like old school lowriders are a whole culture that I'm like extremely interested in. Not so much the hopping competitions and all that, but the fancy paint and the
their art.
It's just
they are high art.
They're really nice. Some of them blow my mind, and I have this fantasy build in the back of my head. It's not a full lowrider, but it kind of mixes some of the traditional, early 70s lowrider styles with some hot rod styles, and it's always in my head. And someday I'll have the money and time to build something to match that aesthetic, but. Yeah, they're really interesting, and we were kind of sheltered from that culture on the East Coast. There's not a huge lowrider culture. I mean, there's a few of them out there, but moving out here to Phoenix, I mean, I can stumble upon a lowrider show a few times a year by accident, and be guaranteed to have my mind blown by something amazing in the parking lot. So, cool stuff. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever own a full hydraulic car, but some of these big, old sleds on airbags that park and just let the air out and put the frame on the ground are really neat looking. So
they really are.
It's kind of where my style is at a little bit. So maybe on Japanese sedan done up that way or something. Do something a little different. But anyway, we're so off topic, Andrew. I don't even know where we began. We were talking about a movie.
We're like a ship on fire in the Atlantic.
Yeah. Oh, good segue.
Yeah.
You guys ruined by calling it a good segue.
Yeah. You don't have to call that the jokes, man. The Felicity Ace. It's a car carrier that was kind of close to the Azores. So we've talked about the Azores before because I went there for the rally. So it's off the coast of Portugal, but they're kind of like a few hundred miles off the coast of Portugal. Like they're not really that close. They're kind of almost in the middle of the Atlantic. And apparently it caught fire. All the crew was rescued, but now the ship is adrift. And it's like you don't think about it, but when you actually look at like the vessel tracker, like I was curious, there's a lot of ships around. So it's really dangerous to just have a ship adrift.
It would just kind of be like a car just rolling down the freeway with nobody in it.
Exactly.
It's not good.
So, marine salvage laws are pretty crazy. Like it's like kind of almost finders keepers. So I'll be curious to see, there's companies that will try to salvage it. Or I think if they can't salvage it, if it gets to a certain point where if it ends up going to be in a dangerous area and like shipping lanes, they'll have, whatever country's navy is closest, like sink it.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if somebody can find it and salvage it and put the fire out. I mean, like you said, finders keepers. If there's anything to salvage on there, it becomes theirs, right?
Basically, and if you tow it back to port, then the owner of the ship is sort of beholden to you they have to pay you for it. Like, it's kind of weird, but
Yeah, by either pay you in whatever the cost of the rescue mission was,
yeah,
or
or you get to claim
just
the ship.
forfeit the goods to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, at first I was like, why did they abandon ship? But then my brain was like, yeah, obviously they abandoned ship. It'd be like being stuck in a burning dumpster rolling down a street. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. Get out. Like,
Yeah.
you're in basically a flaming giant metal carcass at that point. Like,
Yeah, if
there's
they
nowhere to
have
go.
they have firefighting stuff, but if there's only 22 people, if they can't knock the fire down and you lose power, it's like
Well, yeah, what
once
do you do?
once you lose control of a big ship like that, it's pretty dangerous. Like, you got to get off of it.
Yep. Yep. And then it's just dangerous for everybody else, but not you anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, the important thing that we even bring this up, or why we're talking about this, is
Full of cars.
the ship that Volkswagen Audi Group uses to ship cars from Germany to the States. So this thing here was destined for Rhode Island, right?
Yeah. And
And,
it's got a bunch of Porsches on it.
a bunch of Porsches, a bunch of Volkswagens, a bunch of Audis, and some other stuff that hasn't been
Bentleys.
like said yet. Yeah, but did you read the cargo capacity of this ship? How many cars it can hold?
It's like 3,000.
It's 4,000.
Oh, 4,000.
Yeah. So if this thing is full of cars, like, that's a huge loss for a company. Like,
Yeah.
especially if it's Porsche and they have, Porsches are mostly special order cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody orders a car and they wait
Especially
for it.
right now.
Yeah, actually any car right now. But yeah, can you imagine, like, you've waited your whole life to buy a Porsche? This, newest one comes out. You're like, yeah, I'm going to order exactly to my spec. I'm going to get it the way I want it. And then next thing you know, it's just up in flames in the Atlantic Ocean.
Well,
like,
whatever.
I mean, it is what it is. It's a first world problem, right? But
You never had it to begin with, so you don't know what you lost. And they'll just make you another one.
I think I'd still be pretty upset. And people have talked about that already too. Like, I guess there was a situation when they were bringing over like one of the limited production GT3s where a ship sank, and they lost a few limited production GT3s, and they made a few more for the people. So I'm sure if there's anything like that on the ship, they'll be remade. But and again, they're all brand new cars. So as far as loss goes, it is what it is. It's obviously going to be a financial loss for, I guess, at the end user, the insurance company. But it's still sad. It's still tough to hear. And if I had ordered a car and it was on that ship, I'd be a little bummed. That said, my Volkswagen is currently on the market, and the price just went up 20% because
that's right.
4,000 of them just burned to the ground.
Although that's a heck of a bring a trailer story, right? If they salvage the ship and there's a couple that are still okay, and you bought one of the cars, you're like, yeah, car was on the ship and it survived. It's like a weird.
Yeah, that's true. 30 years from now, it's a Barrett Jackson $1 million car.
Yeah,
Survival, Felicity, whatever. Yeah, I was actually chatting with a friend of the show and a former guest, Ron, earlier today about this whole story. Do you remember when the Cougar Ace capsized in 2006?
That was in the Pacific. It had like Mazdas on it.
Yeah, it had 4,700 Mazdas on it.
Yeah.
And they rescued the ship, and there were a bunch of cars on there that were dry because they were above waterline.
Mm-hmm.
But Mazda refused to sell them and scrap them all.
Yeah, because the salt air.
Yeah, they were just in case. So they didn't want to even take a chance. So, I don't think that Volkswagen or Porsche would be very happy if anything off this boat got released to the public. Let's put it that way. So, do you know the saddest cargo carrying boat sinking story for auto enthusiasts?
Chrysler, the concept car?
Nope, don't care about that. This is very near and dear to my heart. Actually, it might not be the saddest to most people, but it would be the saddest to me.
Okay.
So in 1971, there was a carrier off the coast of Canada, the west coast of Canada, that sank to the bottom of the ocean. And it was fully loaded with brand new Dodge Colts. So obviously that is the saddest of all the stories. And I only say that because that many, potential parts cars are now gone. So if they were headed to Canada, they were doomed anyway, but still I've seen pictures from sometime in the 90s, and you can still see some like identifiable trim and hubcaps, but there's not much left of those cars. So anyway, to bring it back to stuff that actually affects us. Cheap Dodge Colts.
Yeah.
We were actually having a conversation at work today. I'm gonna. Are you done with the story about the boat?
Yeah.
All right. And I'm gonna throw this on you very quickly, without you being able to look anything up, top of your head. What's the most beautiful car ever built? Dodge Colts notwithstanding.
Like my choice.
What in your opinion? What is the most beautiful car ever built? Don't go so obscure you have to look it up. Just what comes to your head immediately.
Ooh. Yeah, because I can't think of any like Alphas or Fiats or anything up top of my
That's
head.
what I mean.
So.
It's got to be. It can be a mainstream car. It's just got to be the most beautiful car. We presented this question to everybody at work today, and it was interesting to see where the answers came from and what the argument was and what
2000
everybody
GT.
thought. So 2000 GT was mentioned. The majority of everybody brought up the Lamborghini Miura.
It's okay.
What?
I think there are prettier cars.
Than the Miura.
Yes, definitely.
Huh.
There's some Alphas that there's like one or two were made. I can't remember the name of them.
I think we were talking like general production cars.
Okay, there's that caveat. All right.
Listen. The Miura to me is the obvious choice. It's the mainstream choice. It's a Lamborghini. Everybody remembers what it is. We had some outliers of the 2000 GT, the Jaguar XKE, the BMW 507. Some of that stuff was also brought up, but I would say overwhelming majority, the Lamborghini Miura was considered to be the most beautiful car ever made by everybody at work who knows anything about cars. There was one outlier who said the new Bronco, but they don't count because they're not a car person.
What was that round door 30s car?
Yeah, the round door rolls,
Yeah.
but it's not beautiful.
Why isn't it?
It's just big and like ostentatious.
Yeah, why
If
isn't
you're
it
going to do a
beautiful,
car, because it's not. Look at it. If you're going to do a car from
It
that
is.
era, you would
It's-
probably say something like a Talbot or a Bugatti Atlantique.
What is the qualifications? It has to be
I
a
mean, it's
small car?
opinion. It's opinion. It's 100% opinion. There's no qualifications. It needs to be your opinion. But I think if you Googled round door rolls right now, you would have the opinion that it's not the most beautiful car ever built. It's not. Like I said, if you want to go that era, you would go to the like Type 57 Bugatti Atlantique or something along those lines. The round door rolls is like a big thing that's, I don't know, it's known for being big in your face, but it's not. I wouldn't consider it to be the most beautiful car ever. It's neat. It's just not perfect. So
I don't know. I just don't think it's the mirror. It's
okay. Well, how about this? We're going to revisit this next week. Once you've had a week to look into it and think about it, if you can come up with something that's a
the Fiat 8-valve Vignale Coupe.
sure. I don't want to take time to look all these up right now.
That's the prettiest car.
All right, you don't even need the whole week.
No.
How many were made?
I think like 4 or something insane.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to argue with this. All right, yeah, I disagree, but I guess that's what opinions are.
One
right?
of 9.
All right. Well,
It's a pretty car.
are you talking about the one with the inboard headlights or the headlights on the top tips of the fenders?
Tips of the fenders.
Okay, because there were 2. So, all right, I'll let that be your opinion, and we'll suffer the court of opinion in our email chats in the next week or so. If anybody wants to,
I just don't think the mirror is that special. It's good looking. I'm not saying it's ugly, but it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't strike me as like.
If anybody wants to argue with Andrew, feel free to message us anywhere you follow us on social media. Please do, because this is a hotly debated topic, and I think that while the Fiat is a pretty car, I don't think it stands out. If I showed you a picture of the Fiat 8-valve Vignale Coupe, nobody would know what it was either. Like, it's just kind of.
But even like
Maserati?
All right. So like a pontoon fender 250 GTO,
Sure.
a Miura looks better than that car.
I think so.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I agreed with the Miura. I thought the Miura was it. It's just it's the beginning of that whole mid-engine supercar. It is the first supercar. Like, I don't know. Anyway, if anybody has any opinions, please feel free to shoot them at Andrew or us, because I'm not positive that that's. Again, there's no right or wrong answer. Okay, let me rephrase that. There's no right answer, but there are certainly wrong answers, and I think Andrew gave one.
No.
So, I think so.
A wrong answer would be a 74 Dodge Colt. But
The Bronco, yeah. So, yeah, that was. There's a person at work who works in marketing. Very good person, very nice person, but not a car person. And when they said the most beautiful car ever, they said, "Oh, a new Bronco." And I was like, "Wait. No,
it's brand new.
I was like, not the car that you would buy most off the lot right now, but like the most beautiful car ever built." So there's got to be a little caveat to that. Again, if the one thing you want to buy right now is a new Bronco, then yeah, you're probably going to like the new Bronco a lot. But I don't think anybody's saying it's the most beautiful vehicle ever built. So, and if they are, then oof.
I mean, what? Because it has round lines, like it's rounded edges. I mean, you could go with the original Lamborghini, wedge shape.
Well, the original Countach.
Yeah, the original Countach is what I meant.
I mean, it's striking, but I
Or
wouldn't say it's beautiful.
a Stratos.
Again, striking, interesting, very cool, not beautiful.
Why not beautiful? Because it has
It's not
hard
beautiful.
edges.
Because it's not beautiful.
I don't know about this.
I think that you're going to find that you are in the strong minority once we start asking this question around a little bit more. Anyway, just to burn everything down, that's what I'm saying. I think the Miura is the most beautiful. And I don't love beautiful cars as a rule. I like ugly cars. So I'm an ugly guy. I need an ugly car. Just makes sense. So anyway, moving on. Have you done any project car stuff, Andrew? I know it is the deep freeze out there.
I was warm enough that I washed all the salt off the Volkswagen. That's about it.
It's a project.
Yeah.
You're helping it not have too many projects in the future when you have to replace floors.
Yeah, hopefully. Oh, I don't think you would ever have to. I don't know about new cars replace floors.
Was the Mazda.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel like I would hope. I mean, I didn't get the sunroof, so there shouldn't be any water leaking inside the car.
so I haven't done any projects per se. As we learned last week, the Saab is no longer with us. I discussed all those projects I did, but were all for naught. And I haven't really been in much of a physicality to do any projects. So I cleaned the Volkswagen inside and out, and I'd be remiss if I didn't give huge shout out to Naomi for helping me clean the interior, because I mean, she basically cleaned the interior while I complained about how sore I was. So I can't really take credit for that one. But the reason being, I put the car up for sale. So obviously we're in the middle of, Carmageddon or the Carpocalypse, or whatever you want to call it right now, with the chip shortage and the material shortage and the new car shortage, right? So we all know that used cars have gone through the roof. I'm in a position where the value of my car exceeds what I think I need to keep it for. So I'm trying to get rid of it. I put it on the market, and it's it is the most inexpensive TDI that I could find with a 6-speed manual and under 100,000 miles. So the next closest one I found was like 14 and change. So I put $1,000 under that at 13.5 to, it needs a little bit of paint work on the front hood and fender. So,
some people won't even care because they just want it because they're mileage queens.
Exactly.
And by mileage queens, I mean like mile per gallon queens.
Yes. Yeah, I know what you meant.
That's like a thing.
Yep, 100%. And it's got, like I said, it's commuting damage on the nose. I hit that pallet and it damaged the bumper. and the rock chips from driving across country. It could use a refreshing on the front, but that's the only damage in the car. The rest of the car is immaculate, and I've taken this thing, across the country multiple times. It's always been serviced at a Volkswagen dealer. The only thing they didn't do was the clutch and flywheel, which was just replaced 1,000 miles ago. And the only reason they didn't do it because they wanted $6,000 for a job that should be like $1,500. So, but everything else has always been dealer service. So it's a nice car. It's ready to go. I went out and I took a bunch of pictures of the exterior before I cleaned the interior. And I have to take a bunch of pictures now of the interior to post those. But so the car's in the market. Here's my dilemma, Andrew.
What's the dilemma?
So the plan was to sell the car.
Yeah.
Take some of the money from selling the car and put it aside to buy another car.
Right.
But I don't know how fast that would happen.
Okay.
So before that happens, I have a 64-mile commute every day. So it's 32 miles each way.
All right.
I think I'm having a little bit of, for lack of a better word, almost like a PTSD from my car accident.
Okay.
I don't think I want to commute in the Eclipse.
No.
I don't think I want to commute in my 1981 Cressida that I need to finish putting together.
Okay.
As far as an everyday drive. So the entire plan when I initially was going to sell the Volkswagen was to commute in the Saab because it was, while old and interesting and paid off, it was also new enough to have crumple zones and airbags. Which, thank goodness it does, because I experienced all of them.
Yeah. I mean, you never, for those that listen to us a long time, you never cared about this before.
I'd never cared about it before, no. And I've driven garbage my entire life. And that's why I'm not sure if this is a feeling that will pass. Is it just because I had an accident like less than 2 weeks ago? Will I eventually like subside and be like, whatever, I'll just drive an old car again? Or is it because I'm in an area where I literally commute like I get off onto the highway like less than a mile from my house, and I get off the highway less than a mile from work. So, 30 of those 32 miles are interstate miles where you're just always, doing 80 miles an hour and other people doing 80 miles an hour. And I need to rely on all of those people doing 80 miles an hour to be not drive into me.
It's nice to have a substantial car to commute in. Like,
that's where my brain is
even
at. So
when I had the WRX, it was old, but it was modern. So, and
which
those GD WRXs were very safe cars.
Which is the same story with the Saab. It was a 1997 car, but in 97, Saabs were pretty safe cars. And again, I hit a wall at 50 miles an hour, and I'm here to tell the tale. If I hit that wall at that speed in a Colt or a Cressida or any of those cars, I probably would have had to have been cut out. And if I was able to even be here anymore, you know what I mean? So, listen, I'm 40 years old. I got my license at 16. So that means I've been driving for 24 years?
Yeah, I've never had a serious accident.
I've never had there's been a couple of like dust ups in traffic where somebody's bumped me in traffic, or there's been a little, thing in traffic over the years, but I've never had a serious accident. So I've never thought about it. And it's always been like, I'll avoid the serious accident. And 9 times out of 10, or I guess 999,000 times out of 100,000, I can anticipate what the other car is doing and avoid an accident. There have been plenty of times where I've seen an accident about to happen and avoided it. But there's never been a time like this where it was almost not an accident. This was, we'll get into it in the future episode, but I think this wasn't on purpose. And I've just never experienced that before. And I think I'm having this moment in my life, and I don't know what the right move is. I'm at a point with the Volkswagen where if I continue to drive it, it's never going to be worth more than it is right now. I don't know how long this car apocalypse is going to last. But the problem is if I sell it now while I am in the green a lot on the car, I have to buy another car and be in the red on another car. Or if I just keep the Volkswagen, eventually I'll be in the red on the Volkswagen instead of being in the green. So I'm kind of torn on what to do, and I've never been in this position before. This doesn't mean I'm going to stop driving old cars. You know, I'm still going to use them to go to events and drive around town and whatnot. I just, where I have an interstate commute, and I don't know if it's just that I'm fresh off the accident or if this is how I'm going to feel moving forward. I can't tell that right now. So I'm kind of at a loss of what to do, because if I
Let's
sell
say,
that car,
yeah. All right, go ahead.
if I sell that car, the most modern vehicle that I have is a 1990 Mitsubishi Eclipse with 0 airbags.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's got those auto belts.
They will save my butt, absolutely. Yes. So, yeah, I don't know. What was your comment going to be?
I mean, what's a bread box SI going for these days?
A Breadbox SI? Oh, like an EP3?
Hmm.
I don't know. I haven't even been on my radar. Probably a lot, just because they're.
I don't think they are. I think they're not. I think they're kind of unloved because they don't have the right suspension. They don't have the right K series. But it's a pretty modern car, manual transmission, good little hatchback. Maybe you can find one out there that's got like a little sun faded, but it would be a good, fun daily beater.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at. I need a fun daily beater that's cheap. And the reason that I'm looking at selling the
Mark V Golf,
the Mark 6.
Mark 6.
Oh, buy a Mark 5, you mean?
Yeah.
The reason I'm looking at selling the Volkswagen is because I'm at a point now, and I don't think this will hurt my sale with our listeners hear this, but I'm at a point now where the car is worth more than I paid for it 3 years ago. So by selling
that's just the way the world is right now. It's not.
But it's weird. But I might as well take advantage of it and then get something new, right? With my thought. But my thought was going to be drive an old car or drive the Saab. So then I was like, well, now I don't know what to do because my brain hurts. Literally. My brain hurts from the accident, and it hurts in general. So, and of course, my idiot brain is looking for Civics here and immediately goes to a 1978 Civic, which isn't going to help me any bit in my process here.
Let's see. Owner.
So, yeah, there's no EP3s anywhere here for sale right now.
Nope.
So, I don't even know if they exist. The only old SI I see here is a 2000. Which I would drive, but this one here has got a J32A2 V6 swap, which I don't want. Especially since they cut the hood to put it there.
Oh yeah, I saw it. I'm looking at it.
Yeah, it's gross. Which is a shame, because it's a nice car otherwise. But anyway, so yeah, that's where my head is at, and I don't know what the right answer is. I'm just kind of at a loss, because if I keep the car, I'm never going to be at the point again where the car owes me negative equity. You know what I mean? So it's only going to go down. It's at 92,000 now. You know, when it crosses that 100,000 mile threshold, does it lose more value? Yeah, it seems to. And then as it gets older, it just gets older. And I don't know. It's not, the other issue is the car is not paid off. So, I mean, let me rephrase that. The car is paid off, but I took out a personal loan at a lower interest rate than my car loan was, because obviously I bought this car and I was trying to reestablish credit. So I have like $6,000 on the car. So the whole thought was to get out of it, get out of all loans and just be in the Saab, you know, free and clear, and then save that car payment every month to put towards the fun cars. But now the Saab being gone, my whole plan is ruined. So I don't know what to do.
Here, I got one for you. 1997 Subaru Legacy. Manual transmission. It's an Outback Legacy.
Okay. No.
For $2,500.
Well, see, here's the thing. Here's the other end of this argument. And God, everybody's going to hate me for this whole conversation. But if I buy a $2,500 car that I have no idea about, I'm going to have $2,500 car problems.
Yeah.
Right?
Because that's really an $800 car. In our universe, that's really, it should be an $800 car.
That's because we paid $800 for one 15 years ago.
It has 215,000 miles on it, and it's a 97. That should be $800.
Oh, nothing is $800 anymore.
No.
I missed the irony of your comment. That you're being serious.
What?
That I should buy that car.
Oh no, I was being serious.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
But you're right. That
yeah,
should be.
I have that if I'm spending a lot of money for a car, I don't want. If I'm spending a little bit of money for a car, I'm gonna have to work on it a lot. If I spend a lot of money for a car, I'm not gonna be in any better position than I'm in right now.
Here, you can live your best Phoenix dirtbag life. 2006 Infiniti G35 Coupe, automatic.
Nope.
Pretend to be a real estate agent.
You just need some broken heart stickers and mismatched.
It's actually really nice looking.
Yeah, wrong transmission though. Anyway, so that's my argument right now, or my discussion right now, and I just don't know where to go with it because the whole plan was to get rid of the Volkswagen to drive the Saab. Saab is gone. Now I don't have a backup plan, and selling the Volkswagen would mean I have to buy a car, and the Saab I knew, so it wasn't like I was buying an unknown, and it was already here, so it wasn't going to cost me anything. So,
what's the cheapest FRS or BRZ?
Way more than I want to spend right now.
Really?
Yeah. So I guess I should tell what my ultimate goal was. My ultimate goal was to sell the Volkswagen, daily the Saab, save aside like maybe I guess $6-7 grand delta I was going to have there, eventually sell some of the other stuff, get to the point where I had 15, 16, 17 grand put aside and go shopping for an Evo, but like an Evo 2 or 3. Because they were in the low $20,000 range. Right. That was my ultimate goal. But now the Saab being gone, it really throws a wrench in my plans. I could sell everything and drive the Eclipse every day, and I just don't know that I want to do that because I'm not sure that's the right move. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I just don't know anymore. I feel like there should be a way to get a super cheap car that's, modern enough to be safe and have airbags, and I just don't think there is.
How about an 01 MX-5 for $8 grand?
I might as well try the Eclipse.
Why? It's got airbags.
Yeah, but it's Miata.
And a roll bar.
Oh, perfect. I don't know. I'm having an out loud conversation and thought and process, and I don't think you're going to find a car that I'm going to go, yeah, that's it right now, unless you find an Evo for like $8 grand, which you're not. So.
Ooh. I mean, this is a V6, but what about like an 05-ish Mustang GT?
I already thought about it.
All right.
I mean, I'm not anti it. I'm just anti the whole plan was to get rid of a car payment. So if I'm buying another 10, 15,000, well, I still need a car payment. I don't have 10 grand saved aside to buy a car.
Right, you got to pay the balance.
I got to pay the balance the $6,000 loan off. $6 or $7 grand, and then I have, if I get my full asking price of 13.5, I have what, $5 grand left over. So I'm not, and then I'm also ruining my future plan of buying an Evo. Like, I'm trying to be financially, fiscally responsible here, and it's just making it very difficult because I'm not sure what I want to do. The best financial plan, of course, is to collect the insurance money from the Saab, sell the Volkswagen, take the Eclipse off of the Hagerty policy, put it on a regular insurance policy, and just drive it. That makes the most financial sense. I'm just having I'm having a moment where I'm not sure what my best plan should be. So,
how about a 2004 Mitsubishi Eclipse? $1,500.
What body style is that?
Third gen.
Ugh.
It is as toasted as you think it is.
Yeah, poke me in the head with a stick. I'd rather if I was driving that car, I'd rather it not have airbags because I'd want to die in the accident. No, thank you. Also, you had me pull up, Craigslist here while we're talking about this. And do you want to guess what a 2013 Civic Si 2-door coupe manual transmission with 50,000 miles on it's going for right now?
It's like 22 grand or something.
22,590. That's crazy.
2008 PT Cruiser, $2,500. There's airbags. Right.
You're not helping.
You a Nissan Leaf?
You know what? Honestly, I would love to drive an electric car because I get to go in the carpool lane and not deal with the idiots and just drive past everybody. But
you don't have any charging at work.
A Nissan Leaf doesn't have the range. if I were to do that, I would go out and buy an e-Golf. An e-Golf is what, like 100 miles of range? And
Yeah.
that would be enough to go to and from work. But I don't want to spend the money. So I just don't know.
96 Suzuki X90. 6250.
I feel like even with airbags, I'd still die in that thing. I don't know. I've never cared about this. And it's a whole, I raised a child and daily drove a 1980 Dodge Colt with her in it, and I've never thought about this because I didn't commute on the interstate all the time. And when I did go on the highway, it was short jaunts between exits. It wasn't like just miles and miles and miles of concrete barriers on both sides.
What's a basic C5?
So you're going to laugh because I've already had this thought, because out here I don't need anything that's front wheel drive or all wheel drive, right?
No.
But I was like, I'm going to buy a C5 or a C4 and just daily it. But then I looked into the insurance.
Oh, really? Way more?
Yeah, it's way more money.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, that was way in the front,
I know what you need.
mind. I was like, I could be Corvette guy.
I got it.
But,
I got it. You need a Panther platform car.
All right,
A late Crown Victoria. That's what you want. You get on the highway. It's got a lot of metal around you. It cruises.
It gets 18 miles to the gallon.
It's rear-wheel drive.
It's 18 miles to the gallon.
It's got ice cold AC.
Again, I'm doing 64 miles a day.
It's not my problem.
So, listen, I'm not looking to buy a car right now. I think
how about,
I'm not sure what my conversation
how
here
about
is
this
supposed to end in.
Euro Zender Mercedes 500 SEL for $5,000?
Now we're talking.
That's a big Merc.
Is it terrible?
No, it's good looking.
Oh, that sounds like a bad idea.
You have to send me
that one.
It's a big car.
Yeah, safety wise, it sounds great. I'm just thinking of mechanical wise now. But anyway, I'm not sure where I thought you were going to help me out in this conversation. I was just having a moment in my head, and not sure where I needed to go with it. But I don't think it was buying every garbage old Mercedes on Craigslist.
I mean, you wanted something around you.
I did, yeah. Just go buy another pickup truck.
2000 Cadillac DHS?
Nope, absolutely not. No North Star cars. Also 18 miles a gallon. Anyway, where can we get off
78 Oldsmobile 98 Regency?
6 miles per gallon. We're going really well.
Big metal bumpers.
So speaking of vintage cars,
yeah,
I went to a big Concours here last weekend. I'm changing the subject, so close the Craigslist window.
Oh, did you hear me click?
No, I'm telling you to click it off if you haven't already.
I'm listening.
I went to the Fountain Hill Concours here in Fountain Hills, Arizona. It's not a traditional Concours. It has some of the fancy high-end stuff when you first walk in, and then it goes to kind of a little bit more mishmash. My GPS on my phone said I walked 6.5 miles during the event. That's how big the lot is. Also, being a week after the accident, I didn't walk again for the entire rest of the weekend because I hurt myself pretty bad. But it was totally worth it. You walk into this Concours and it has all the vendor tents and all the fancy stuff. And the first display you see is period race cars.
Ooh.
So all of these cars are local. Well, not all of them. A good majority of them are local Phoenix cars. There was a Gullwing Mercedes with actual 50s race history. Mario Andretti's 1966 Indy 500 car. Mario and Michael Andretti's 1985 24-hour Le Mans March chassis race car. Like it was an amazing event. A McLaren F1.
Whoa.
Yeah, a McLaren F1 parked next to one of those new. What's the new Aston Martin? The 177.
I don't know.
They're only making like a couple of, and they're like.
Is not the one that's like supposed to be based on like the 70s car, is it?
It looks like it's got all the callback stuff to it.
Yeah, I think I saw it on Top Gear, but I don't remember what it was called.
So the Aston Martin 177. It's It's amazing. It's the 7.3 liter V12, like front engined, ridiculous. They're only making 77 of them. They're hand built by one of 27 guys.
Oh yeah,
They're
that's definitely the one I saw.
they're $1.4 million.
Whoa.
So one of those was there. Super cool. Um, all the race cars are surrounded by ropes. And then you walk around the corner, and the cars that are not surrounded by ropes, literally a 275 GTB, like a 1965 275 GTB in yellow,
Yeah.
parked next to a 250 California Spider long wheelbase,
Whoa.
like the long wheelbase version of the Ferris Bueller car. Yeah, like just parked casually in the show. Like they were 1,300 cars and over 10,000 spectators. Just to give you an idea of the spec of this show, like it was huge. It was ridiculous. I can't even begin to explain.
And everything's all the cars are spread out, like they're not like parked next to each other.
It depends on what section you were in. It was kind of a self-parking areas. So again, I walked 6.7 miles, so there was plenty of space. So Fountain Hills, Arizona is a town built around a man-made like lake, like reservoir. And it's all rolling grass hills around this reservoir. In fact, this park that is at the Fountain Hills Reservoir, it actually has 2 full disc golf courses on it. That's how big the park is. So it was huge, and it was just full of cars. So you probably saw some of the pictures I put up. You could see a good amount of most of the cars. They weren't all just parked next to each other.
I mean, I don't know how big a disc golf course is supposed to be. Is it as big as a regular golf course?
I don't know. I mean, you got to throw a disc. It goes pretty far, right?
I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
I won by my house, but it's not that big, I don't think.
We played disc golf a few years ago. Remember?
Yeah, it was pretty big.
It was pretty big. Let's see if I can Google the size of this park real quick. So it's a 64-acre park. So that's pretty big, right?
Yeah, 64 acres is pretty big.
Hold on. It's 64 acres of land around a 29-acre lake.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Yeah, it's huge. It was full of cars. So that's what kind of space it takes to park, 1,300 cars. So it's pretty crazy. But yeah, so all those things were there. And then they have the lesser cars are parked kind of by section. So you have a British section and a German section and a Japanese section. And on one particular corner, there were like 16 Panteras. I don't think I've ever seen 16 Panteras in one place. It was pretty impressive display. The cool thing is that this whole thing, it's free for spectators. I think it's $40 to enter a car in it, but you have to pre-register and they have to approve your car, yay or nay. But the whole thing is a charity event for Phoenix Children's Hospital. And I think they raised $480,000 for Phoenix Children's Hospital. So it's also a pretty good charity event. Everybody gets excited to come out here for auction week. Now I think this might even be a cooler event than the auction week out here. So it's the week after, but it's amazing. It was quite a show. I was talking to a friend of mine who was there, and he rolled in his modern car and just parked on the lot like I did. And he's like, I was driving, and I look in my mirror and I see this little flash of silver, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And I noticed that this is literally a McLaren F1 driving. They didn't trailer it there; they drove it on the highway there. He's like, I just pulled over, my window down to watch it go by. So when do you ever see a McLaren F1 out and about moving around? So the fact that most of these cars are driven to the show is amazing. There was a true XKSS Jaguar, the green, Steve McQueen car. I'm sure it wasn't Steve McQueen's car, but that same car, what? How is that even? The amount of over the top ridiculous cars that were there. There was a D-type Jag. There was, I can go on. I think there were 4 Countages, 1 LM002. Just an absurd collection of cars. So it's if you're in the area at all next year, if anybody listening is in the area of Fountain Hills, Arizona, which is I don't know. I'd say it's about 40 minutes from downtown Phoenix. Um, the show is the same kind of time every year, early February. It's 100% worth checking out. I had told a friend of mine to come down. He came down with his wife and kids, and they got there and they're like, "We're not prepared for this. We expected like a small car show. Like, I don't think we're going to be able to see the whole thing." So because kids are very young, but it was just it was an amazing show, and I can't recommend it enough, especially with the whole charity thing in the background. Even I didn't even get to the American car section until it was pretty much time to leave. And do you remember Gran Turismo? One year picked cars from SEMA that got put in the game, and there was that Buick Wildcat, the green and gray two-tone.
Mm-hmm.
Like that car was there.
Yeah, it was like an Art Morrison chassis thing or something.
Sure, but it was just like, oh, that's the car that you got to race in Gran Turismo, and here it is, just parked here at a car show. So it was absurd. I think there were 35 Vipers, like of various kinds. One the Hennessy car that's supposedly at 300 miles an hour. Remember that from like a year ago? It was all that like hoopla about it. That exact car was at the show. So it was pretty amazing the amount of stuff that was there. I can't. There was a legitimate real Mark IV Ford GT. So the longer tail one.
Tail, yeah. Kind of goofy looking.
I've never seen one in person. It's
there we go. GT40, beautiful car, better than a Miura, I think.
No,
yeah,
I still think you're wrong, but it's okay. Again, that's the beauty of opinions, right? Everybody can have one, and only Brad's is right. So we'll let it slide. But anyway, it was a hell of a show, and I can't wait now for next year's. I'll be a little more prepared, and hopefully be able to enter a car myself, because I won't miss the entry deadline, because that's what happened. I actually went to enter my car, and apparently that weekend they had sold out, and it was like a month before the show started. So yeah, it's hopefully I'll be at it next year, but it was cool. It was 100% worth it. So speaking of Gran Turismo, did you see the trailer for GT7?
I didn't watch it. No.
Oh. Well, it's coming.
I know I've seen screen grabs. It's like pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's coming. So I was tempted to consider purchasing a PlayStation 5 in order to play it. Except PlayStation.
You can't even get one anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, you can't.
Yeah, they're impossible to find.
They're $800.
Yeah, and they're impossible.
Are they supposed to be $800?
I don't know what the MSRP. Price? Yeah, no, it's probably more than that. If that's the MSRP, I don't know.
I was seeing them for $800, and I was like, I wouldn't even if I was thinking of buying one, seeing it at $800, I wouldn't buy one. I thought it was like $400 or $500, like they always have been. But PlayStation 4s are still $400.
I mean, a lot of games are crossplay now, so that's cool. But I don't know.
Okay, so it says the PS5 price is supposed to be $499.99.
Mm-hmm.
So the $800 must be the markup price.
PS4 price?
No, the PS5 is $499.99. Yeah. No, sorry. If I did, then I apologize. The PS5 is $499. So maybe I'm looking at markup prices. I see Probably. Here, Walmart.com, $815. So GameStop, oh, nope, not even there. So, okay. Anyway, that's a little more reasonable. I wouldn't pay $800 for a game console. I probably shouldn't pay $500 for a game console either, but I don't know. Do you think that they'll allow this game to be crossplay? Do you think it will have PC play?
No, because it would have to be released on another system.
Right.
It's kind of, Microsoft kind of has that in lock. You just kind of, I don't think they'd ever go to PC. It's probably a PlayStation exclusive. I mean, that makes you, for some people, that's enough to buy a PlayStation because the nostalgia is so real for this game.
Well, it almost got me there, but
it does look more like the, like 1, 2, 3 was versus the later versions, which I didn't really like 5 or 6.
Correct. I don't know. I'm not going to spend that kind of money on a console just for one game because I don't play many other games other than Forza anymore anyway. So I guess maybe we should concentrate on getting a PC and waiting for the next PC racing games.
Yeah, even that. I mean, PCs are still impossible to get. So
Are they?
yeah,
I don't know.
can't-
I'm not paying attention to any of this stuff right now, I guess.
I'm not really paying attention. I just know from talking to people about it. Like occasionally, it's like
I guess we'll just
Not even
continue to
worth it
play Dirt 2.0 and Forza 5 or whatever number we're on.
yeah, just gonna keep
Forza 7. What number Forza are we on? 7?
7. Keep soldiering on these old consoles. It's
Speaking of which, we need to get some Forza playing going with our group again.
mm.
All right. Well, it's an episode, Andrew. Anything else to chat about? We kind of rambled through a bunch of stuff there. It was kind of a catch-up day.
No, that's it. That is
Excellent.
it. Yeah. I'm trying to
So,
think.
if anybody wants to argue with Andrew, please feel free to message us about what the most beautiful car ever is. If anybody
go
has
for it. Hit
a better plan for my
Shoot your best shot at me.
if anybody has a better plan for my Volkswagen replacement, let me know. And
Shoot your best shot at that too.
yeah, if anybody's got a real cheap car with airbags they're looking to get rid of in Arizona for like almost no money that's reliable,
Here, I got
Hit
an
me up.
O2 Diamante, $29.99,
that's too much money.
74,000 miles.
Oh, that's actually intriguing.
It's beige. You'll just
I don't want
fade into the background. Nobody
Which
will
is
see you.
It's probably okay. I could drive a Diamante. I don't know. Whatever. Moving on. That's all. We'll chat with you all next time.
Yep.
So, social medias.
Why don't you go first this time?
Sure.
Change it up.
You can find me on Instagram at TSISS350. You can find Auto Off Topic on Instagram at Auto Off Topic. You can find us on Facebook at Auto Off Topic Podcast.
That's right.
Where can they find us on Twitter, Andrew?
Auto off topic.
Excellent.
I'm on Twitter, Race and Anger, and Instagram, Race and Anger, and don't forget Scale Autocast, the Instagram account.
For the
podcast
yet to be
is
recorded
coming.
podcast. Yeah.
We're working on it.
If anybody really, really wants to hear my voice, there is another podcast that I am on. It's through my employer. Pro tip, don't ever tell your employer that you have a podcast, because if they decide to do their own podcast, they will put that as your responsibility. So that being said, I actually think we recorded a pretty good episode, and it's my poor automotive opinions again, but with two new voices who you won't know, my coworkers Jeff and Derek, who both bring their own non-Mitsubishi opinions to the podcast. So it's called the Drive the Bid podcast. It is currently pending on all the major platforms. It can be listened to on the Podbean host at the moment. I'm not sure when you listen to this if it will have gotten through the process, but it should eventually be on Apple, iTunes, Google, Amazon, Spotify. All the podcast hosts should eventually have it, but as of this recording, I don't think it's gotten approved yet through those. We're waiting for that to happen. So again, that's called the Drive the Bid podcast.
Yeah, it usually takes about a week.
Yeah, that's what it said.
I like that name. Good name.
Yeah, I was on the fence at first, but it's come to be okay. Obviously, my day job, I work for a company called AutoHunter.com, and we do online vintage car auctions. So our podcast called Drive the Bid makes sense in that case. So it works out. So it's also always kind of been one of our, like, I don't call it catchphrase. It's kind of been like our slogan, like AutoHunter.com, Drive the Bid. So that's where it came from. So anyway, yeah, check it out. There's no social media for that. Just go to AutoHunter.com, and eventually there'll be a link there as well. But because we're a company, it takes a while to get it through everybody and get a link put onto the page. But one episode is live. We kind of introduce who we are, who the company is, a little bit of corporate shillery, and then have a conversation about a few fun things, like the Fountain Hill Concours again. Actually, we talked about that there as well. So, and then what normally we're doing is we'll discuss, some car events, some car news, some car stuff, just like here. The co-host, Derek, is a freelance automotive journalist as well, and he's always in a press car. So we usually review his press car as well during that event, during that podcast. And then we each give our pick of the week for cars that are available for purchase on the autohunter.com platform. So
Oh, that's fun.
yeah, no, it's pretty fun. I'm trying to keep it different enough from this and not rob any ideas from our podcast for that podcast and not rob any ideas from that podcast for this podcast. So it should be
That's okay.
interesting juggle. I don't want to be a lot of repetitive stuff going on. I know
Our
that
lawyers will be
obviously,
contacting you.
yeah. I know obviously people want to hear different opinions from me all over the place, which is why they're going to listen there too, right? Kidding.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so that's it. Drive the Bid. You can search it. It should pop up on Podbean at the moment, but eventually, like I said, it'll be everywhere. So that's all.
All right, cool. As always, keep cars analog and aim for the roses.